well, I think there are groups more and more everywhere, but let me answer it first from the library perspective and the libraries I observe, and that is that pretty much everything is group or team-based. And that means, going back to the idea of different information professions, that there are teams of people in many different information professions working together in libraries. So I think we've said in many ways that the people who work in libraries come from many information professions and work together in teams. The same is true in medical informatics and in medicine in general, as you well know, that medicine is no longer a solo practice. It's done by teams, and an important part of the team are people like medical librarians and medical informaticians.
And it's just not us working together, it's teams. It's joining other teams, looking for opportunities of teams where you can join and, provide a service as an information specialist. I think that's really going to be one of the futures, the secrets to our future survival, is just looking for those opportunities. People are not necessarily going to walk into us. We have to, be much more proactive, I think. And, it will be required. It probably is an expectation now, but I think it will become a greater one in the future. So it makes life interesting. It makes our jobs exciting, never boring.
Just a anecdote, I guess is the best way to call it. In about 2000, when I appointed the first head of organizational development at the University of Maryland, there were almost none filling these kinds of positions in ARL libraries. Today there are dozens. And I think it's a reflection of the increasingly pervasive use of team-based organization as a structure for doing the kind of collaborative work that is absolutely essential in libraries. And I do think that we're going to see in all information professions an increasing migration in this particular direction. I think it's an absolutely essential part of the kind of work that these organizations must and will do.
You had a question right there. You, with the apple, the black jacket, and the white pants.
Right.
Okay.
That would be it.
So the question is, like, in 2050, will we have data museums? What, I've been captivated by the term archive ever since, blogs came about. You see the archive section. It's not really an archive. I mean, it is in the sense that it is archive information, but looking at long-term data storage, what does that look like? How do we organize things for that?
Just because that word museum was in there, doesn't it?
Well, there are groups working on that. DataNet and the other NSF initiatives are certainly looking at that question. And I have just told you about everything I know about it, except to say that it's being worked on. I would also add that it is obviously important. What else could I say? It's very challenging. We thought in libraries that keeping track of books and articles was hard, but keeping track of individual data points, it might even take us past 2050.
Yesterday, part of our discussion was whether or not libraries would continue to play a major role or increasingly play a major role in organizing and storing and stewarding data. And I think from our experience here at Chapel Hill, we do see a strong future for managing certain kinds of data, not vast data stores, not the human genome database necessarily. The practitioners and others are taking care of that. The astronomers, my boss is an astronomer who helped to build one of the high Andes Chilean telescopes. The astronomers have their massive data stores in hand, and they know what they need, they know what they want to keep, and they have places to keep it. But there's a middle tier of data users, data generators on our campuses that really can use some help. And at Chapel Hill, we're beginning to see a role for the library in guiding them. The other day, a professor called one of the librarians and said that he was doing his data management plan, and he had heard a rumor that the library was helping with these. And so I think both the researchers and the library are beginning to see a role.
Just a footnote. A great deal of the access to these large data facilities has been focused on immediate use and access, and I think that increasingly we will see the curation and long-term preservation to be critical. And in libraries, what we're finding, I think, is that collaboration is going to be a key way in which this sort of work is conducted. I mean, we have examples of the Hadi Trust and the DPN project, which are emerging examples of the ways in which libraries will have to collaborate across many institutions in order to accomplish this work.
Thank you, panelists. You did a wonderful job.
In light of the time, we didn't have a break scheduled between the two panels, so what I propose is that while the panels swap, you can stand up and stretch, and if you have to run out for a bio break, do that then. But some of our last speakers actually have to catch planes, so we really do have to try and wrap up by 3:30 at the latest. So one speaker won't be here, so we'll pick up a little bit of time in the last panel. But thank you for your patience, and it's my pleasure now to introduce Derek Rodriguez, the program director for TRLN, who will moderate the third panel. Derek.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Thank you all for being here. So this morning we heard about challenges in higher education and pressure on our organizations. I have the honor to introduce panelists who have experience navigating seas of change in industry. Each has extensive experience identifying problems and turning them into opportunities by listening to their communities and clients, raising funding, and forming companies. They'll share us today the challenges faced in industry today, including increased user expectations, disintermediation, globalization, and fierce competition. They will suggest that the way our profession will survive and thrive is by seeking out big problems and solving them. They will also provide recommendations on preparing our graduates for a world when where they work matters less than with whom they work, where our success will be measured by our impact in the lives of our clients and communities, and will be increasingly important to close the gap between research and practice. Ann Caputo joins us from Dow Jones, where she is the executive director of Dow Jones Learning and Information Professional Programs. Prior to joining Dow Jones, Ann held several leadership positions in the Dialogue Corporation. She's been very active in the Special Libraries Association, including serving as its president in 2010. Bonnie Carroll is the founder, owner, chairman of the board, and chief knowledge officer of Information International Associates. Founded in 1988 and headquartered in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, her company provides information management and technology services to U.S. government agencies, academia, nonprofits, and international organizations. And their work has deep impact. For instance, the IAA recently developed the Deepwater Horizon Institutional Repository, which brings together materials from multiple federal agencies on the disaster and oil spill in the Gulf. Next, we'll hear from Buck Goldstein. Buck is the university entrepreneur in residence and professor of practice and economics at UNC Chapel Hill. He joined the faculty in 2004 to help build the Carolina Entrepreneurial Initiative. The initiative, I quote from the website, helps UNC students, faculty, and staff learn to transform ideas into sustainable enterprises that create commercial, social, scientific, and artistic value. He earned his undergraduate and law degrees from UNC Chapel Hill and has been an entrepreneur for his entire career, founding in 1982 Information America, an online information company